Good evening, Internet. Welcome back to another night of strange and scary games. I'm Mom. That's Aldous in the background. And tonight we are continuing our journey through the Madvent calendar for this year. We've done 16 games so far, so we are on our way to number 17. Let's find out what we got. A murder, a spaceship, 8 suspects, 3 hours. Find the killer. A short murder mystery where you must interview guests and crew members to uncover a time-sensitive murder plot. Ruben Tiprock. I think it downloaded something. Okay. Got a cool aesthetic. That's really nice. Welcome to the lounge, detective. The Tellurian ambassador is dead, found this morning, Christmas Day, murdered on Christmas Eve. This is no accident. You need to question the suspects and determine motive, means, and opportunity. Determine who is guilty before the Tellurians arrive. Failure to do so will mean all-out war. I've called the pathologists. They should be arriving at the table shortly with preliminary thoughts. Time is running out, detective. Good luck. Where is... Are you the pathologist? Can't get out of here. I'm trapped. Before we begin, I left the autopsy report over there on the table. Can you bring that over here? This one? All right. Station security logs from the night of the murder shows unusual access patterns. DNA analysis report. Forensic DNA from under the ambassador's fingernails matches Commander Vaughn and trace amounts of Dr. Thorne. 4 access codes used on ambassador's door. His own, diplomatic, Thorne, diplomatic, Vaughn, override, Solus. So Solus is our prime suspect, it sounds like. Personal data pad found near the body. Contains encrypted messages. Exotic radioactive mineral used in the murder. Extremely rare and expensive. Supply chain, Kilroth, Lucky Chen, Dr. Kerrigan, unknown buyer. Which one are you? Dr. Kerrigan. Ambassador's personal keycard shows recent usage at medical bay. Commander Vaughn's advanced medical training record shows she has the skills to perform precise injections. So it seems Commander Vaughn, Dr. Thorne, and then Solus is the last one. It seems like they're the prime suspects. Can you guys see? You can see the portrait. Berturium shards, an injection? That's not murder, detective. That's a statement. Whoever did this wanted it personal, painful, and invisible to scanners. They also had to know Tellurian physiology. Berturium reacts with their copper-based blood in a way that, let's say, cascading organ failure doesn't quite cover it. Time of death approximately 0300 hours. He was found collapsed near his bed, diplomatic robes disheveled. The injection site shows faint scorch marks on his neck. Right-handed attacker, close personal range. This required medical knowledge. Trace amounts of sedative in his system. Not lethal, but enough to make him drowsy. Someone prepared him for the kill. His personal pad shows a meeting at 2100 hours with someone marked as TB in his calendar. There was a half-empty glass of Tellurian ceremonial wine on the nightstand. The wine contained the sedative. His diplomatic lockbox was open. It requires both biometric scan and a 6-digit code. Someone with intimate knowledge opened it. Door log shows 4 different access codes used that night. His own, 1 override code, and 2 diplomatic access codes. Look for someone with medical training, access to Berturium, diplomatic codes, and knowledge of Tellurian customs. That's all I have for now, Detective. You may start by reviewing the suspect's file. Lieutenant Marcus Webb, Maven Kilroth, Lucky Chen, Chief Petty Officer Raina Solis, Tavara, Dr. Lissa Thorne, Ensign Torque, Commander Celera Vaughn, Ambassador Head of Security. So I think that Solis is definitely a suspect. And then Dr. Lissa Thorne is a suspect. Detective, I've already provided my initial statement to station security. The ambassador's death occurred during my shift. I take full responsibility for the failure to prevent it. My duty is to protect everyone on the ship. I failed. That's all there is to it. I was conducting security sweeps, decks 2 through deck 5, standard patrol route. It's logged in the security system. The ambassador's quarters are on deck 3. I passed by his door at approximately 02:25 hours. Everything appeared normal, no disturbances, no unauthorized access alerts. I continued my patrol. Professional, the ambassador was a VIP under my protection. I briefed him weekly on security protocols. He was difficult sometimes, thought security procedures were excessive, refused escort details. I respected his position, but he made my job harder than it needs to be. Vaughn's code. Override code at 02:30 hours? Yes, that was me. Security chief as master override for emergencies. I was conducting a routine security check of all VIP quarters, standard protocol during high-level diplomatic visits. Oh, Detective, this is it's devastating. The ambassador and I were collaborating on xenobiological compatibility studies. Is that a euphemism? He was so vital to my research in Tellurian physiology and biochemistry. I can't believe, who would? It's just terrible for everyone involved. Do you need me to explain Tellurian metabolic processes? I can explain those. Me? I was in my quarters, right next door, actually. We're on the same deck for diplomatic protocol reasons. I was reviewing my notes, missed the crew Christmas party to finish my research, cross-referencing Tellurian biological markers, fascinating stuff. I didn't hear anything unusual. The walls are quite thick, soundproof for privacy. Professional, purely professional. I was his xenobiologic research subject for the peace talks. He was fascinating, actually. His physiology was unlike anything I'd studied before. We spent hours discussing Tellurian biochemistry. He taught me so much about their metabolic systems and... Trace amounts of my DNA? Well, yes, we worked together closely. We worked closely together. Same room, shared documents. Cross-contamination is extremely common in diplomatic settings. That proves nothing. Yes, I was there at 2100. I already admitted that. We discussed the peace talks. He was going to recommend against peace, said humans were boring. Can you imagine? My entire life's work, decades of research, destroyed because of one man's prejudice. What? This doesn't prove anything. I'm done with this interrogation. I need Vaughn. Who's the other one? Dr. Kerrigan. Why can't I talk to Kerrigan again? Guess let's get Vaughn. We can get Webb. Oh. The ambassador was more than my assignment, detective. He was the finest example of Tolarian honor I've ever known. Whoever did this didn't just kill a diplomat. They murdered hope itself. I should have been there. I should have protected him. I was in the gymnasium, Deck 7, Section B. I run combat drills every night from 0200 to 0400. It's logged in the facility access records. I was alone. I prefer it that way. Fewer distractions. Professional, nothing more. I was his head of security for 3 years. The ambassador was married to a member of Tolarian nobility. Our relationship was strictly duty-bound. I admired his dedication to peace, that's all. You dare question my honor? I devoted everything to protecting him. Fine, you want the truth? I cared for him more than I should have, but I would never harm him. He was married to my sister, detective. Do you understand what that means in Tolarian culture? It means my feelings were forbidden. My DNA under his nails? Of course, we sparred together regularly. Combat training. Tolarian honor demands physical excellence. We trained the evening before he died. He was preparing for a ceremonial duel. That's all this proves, detective. Oh, 200 hours. That's when you think No, I was checking on him. I always checked on him. He couldn't sleep. We talked about the peace talks, about duty, about sacrifice. My medical certification. You think, I have those skills. Fine. Yes, I knew exactly where to inject. I knew what the Praetorium would do to his copper-based blood. I am a trained warrior, detective. When I strike with precision. That's what you wanted to hear, isn't it? But you don't understand why. In Tolarian culture, an arranged marriage is a cage for the soul. Death is the only key. I've said all I have to say, detective. So it was Vaughn? I've been thinking about the timeline. The ambassador had ceremonial wine around 2100 hours, right before he went to bed. Strange thing is, Commander Vaughn took emergency personal leave during her own security shift. Middle of the night. Who does that? And here's the kicker. Access logs show 2 different diplomatic codes used that night. 2 people visited him. Detective, I've been expecting you. I assume you want to know where I was when the ambassador died. I was on the bridge, Alpha Shift, 2300 to 0700, alone, monitoring long-range sensors. The captain prefers a skeleton crew during diplomatic functions. Someone needs to watch for Pigalle incursions. I heard about the ambassador around 0430 when Chief Solus contacted the bridge. Terrible business. I know how this looks, detective. Young officer alone during the murder, but I have nothing to hide. My alibi? I already told you. I was on the bridge monitoring sensors during Alpha Shift. While everyone else was drinking eggnog, I got stuck on night watch. 2300 to 0700, alone. Standard skeleton crew protocol during diplomatic functions. I heard about the murder around 0430 when Chief Solus contacted the bridge. Before that, I had no idea anything was wrong. Check the bridge logs if you don't believe me. Every command I entered is timestamped. My relationship with Ambassador Thel, purely professional. We met a few times at diplomatic receptions. Honestly, I don't like the man. He was a warmonger, pushing both sides towards conflict when we should be seeking peace. But disliking someone's politics doesn't mean I'd murder them, Detective. I believe in working through proper channels, diplomacy, negotiation, not assassination. Detective, I've been expecting you. Please sit. Can I offer you a drink? I understand you need to ask questions. I'm a businessman. Transparency is good for business. Yes, I knew Ambassador Lorath. We were in preliminary discussions about establishing trade routes through Pigalle space. His death is unfortunate. Bad for business. Very bad for business. My whereabouts? Simple. I was in my guest quarters all evening. I'd had a long day of negotiations, poured myself a Tellurian brandy, reviewed some contracts. Fell asleep around 2300. Woke up to security pounding on my door at 0200. No witnesses, unfortunately. When you're as successful as I am, you learn to enjoy your own company. Ambassador Lorath and I were business associates. Nothing more, nothing less. He was negotiating on behalf of the Pigalle Collective. I represent several shipping consortiums. If this peace treaty goes through, there will be enormous opportunities for legitimate trade. And I, Detective, am always positioned to capitalize on opportunity. You doubt me. That's your prerogative, Detective. I've built my career on trust and discretion. Ask anyone in the trade circuits about Maven Kilroth. My reputation is impeccable. Well, mostly impeccable. I may operate in gray areas, but murder, that's bad for business. Very bad. Detective, terrible business. Just terrible. The ambassador seemed like a stand-up fellow. Real tragedy, the whole thing. Me? I was in Cargo Bay 3 all night, counting medical supplies. Thrilling work, let me tell you. Look, I run a tight ship with my inventory. If something is missing, I'd know about it. You need anything? Information? Supplies? A sympathetic ear? Lucky Chen's your man. My whereabouts? Like I said, Cargo Bay 3, all night long. Got the inventory logs to prove it. Medical supplies, food rations, spare parts, the usual. No one saw me because no one works that shift. I prefer the quiet for counting. Besides, what would a quartermaster want with a dead ambassador? I deal in supplies, not politics. The ambassador? Met him once, maybe twice. Diplomatic types don't usually need quartermasters. He requested some Pigalle comfort items when he first boarded, cultural foods, that sort of thing. I got them for him. Legitimate procurement, all above board. Nice guy. Tipped well. Shame what happened to him. Time's up, Detective. The Tellurian delegation is demanding answers. You think you've got it figured out? Once you make your accusation, there's no taking it back. They need to know who killed Ambassador Lorath, how they did it, and why. Get it wrong and we're all dead. Are you ready to solve this case? All right, Detective. The Tellurian delegation is waiting. Let's do this. First question, who killed Ambassador Lorath? Commander Sylara Vaughn. Who is the accomplice? Dr. Lissa Thorne? And then the berturium injection causing radiation poisoning. Sedated via drug ceremonial wine. Ah. Dr. Lissa Thorne, Commander Silara Vaughn, Commander Vaughn's approach, romantic obsession with the ambassador. Case solved. Congratulations, detective. Perfect score, 7 out of 7. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, that was the lounge. I would have loved some sound for that. Even just small things like if when you check the evidence, if there's like a small like doot or something like that whenever you hover over the evidence. Something for when the people are talking, anything like that. I thought that the writing was very straightforward. I appreciate you erring on the side of straightforwardness, because sometimes I'll get into these mystery games and it'll be like, there are frogs on the ship and I was just sitting there watching the frogs and trying to gather up the frogs, and the whole thing with getting the frogs back to where they are. And I'll be like, okay, so the frogs are a big part of the mystery. I better like figure out what's going on with these frogs. And then the frogs have nothing to do with the mystery. So I appreciate the straightforwardness of it. A little bit more like intrigue, or like you had the part about the politics, having a little bit more of the intrigue and being like, you know, the ambassador is always talking about peace, but always pushing towards war. And you have to figure out like, well, if he's always talking about peace, but pushing for war, what's motivating that? Is he just trying to like ruffle feathers? Is he trying to like bring something to the surface? Does he have plans? Things like that. Having the smuggler, for example, like dropping little hints that the ambassador wants war because it's good for business or something like that. A little bit more intrigue would have been nice with the writing. I appreciate you erring on the side of straightforwardness. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say. I really like the visuals. It's a bottleneck game. It's a what's it called? Bottle game. Everything takes place in the one room. It would have been nice if the room had changed over the 3 hours. If maybe there's like a TV set on the wall and you can see the Tellurian ship approaching or something like that. Just giving it a little bit more sense of urgency. But I enjoyed like looking out the window and seeing the star trails and things like that. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you all for joining me for another night of Strange and Scary Games. I love you, and we'll see you in the next video. Good night.